I've done a little more with the instrumentation. I now have the amp meter, the Expert Pro, and the voltmeter installed. There's also a this is going to be the battery indicator light, and this is going to be the motor indicator light. There's a fault with them from the Zilla hairball. Inside, on the back side of this first, I've installed the wiring to the voltmeter, ammeter, and part of the wiring to the Expert Pro. The rest of it will have to be done inside of the dash. And I've got a common ground here, wires to the amp meter and wires to the voltmeter, and this is going to be the signal wire coming from valet mode. When the Expert Pro here reaches a certain battery low level, I'm going to have it open a contactor here between this mark, which is A2 and A1, so that it will actually turn the valet mode on inside of the hairball on the Zilla. And I'll have that set so that it will decrease the amount of amps that can come through the Zilla. I'll probably reduce it down to where only 100 amps will come through, so that we can conserve battery and have a quote limp home in the quote mode. Now, when this happens, if you want to override it, what I've done is I've put a switch right here so that you can hit this switch and it will disconnect the valet mode once again, and you'll be back in the regular mode, so that you can drive the car, but you will be aware that the battery pack is almost depleted. I've got this thing also set up so that when it does go into valet mode, this light will come on that switch, so you'll realize there's an issue and you can just turn it off at that point. You can also see that I've put a hole in the side of the box here, and I'll be pulling all the wires through there here in just a little while. And I've got the top piece that I showed earlier that covers this now has some little Velcro pieces back here and here that will hold it securely in place, so none of this will move. And here's the first installation part. I put the box in, and the switch doesn't hit anything. All the wires will come through the hole appropriately, and so now I'll start installing the meters. Okay, here it is. It's completely installed. Everything, all the wiring is in. Basically it is ready to go. Of course, none of the gauges are on now because the battery pack's not hooked up, but everything should work, and we'll see as soon as I get the batteries hooked in. That'll be my next project. Well, here we are on the battery boxes. I'm going to have 44 of the 180 amp hour cal batteries, 130 amp hour cal batteries, and this is going to be the base of my battery box. Just done it out of 1 1/4 inch, a 1/8 thick angle, and we'll do the base of it this way. There's going to be 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows with 11 each for 44 total batteries. I'm making the battery box base here, and what I've done is I've got some 1 1/4 inch angle iron, 1/8 inch thick, and I've just got everything lined up, and I've been tack welding the corners. So there's a little tack weld right there. I've got one on this corner. I've got another one I'm done on this corner. I'm about to do the last corner. I just want to show you how I squared everything up with the magnetic squares in my right angle clamp. That's how I do that. I've got the this is going to be the bottom piece for the battery rack, and then I'm going to have struts that come straight up for 10 inches, and then I've got a top that's going to be identical to this. I've already cut all my metal pieces. They're sitting over here on the batteries. But, we're going to get all this welded together today, and I'll put it inside of the HHR. I guess I can show you that. Come around here. Maybe a little dark inside. This is my template. The lines you see running here, those are going to be rows of batteries. There'll be 4 rows of 11 batteries each, and the battery box will sit right there. This is where my charger will sit. When you lift up this little template, see there are some absolutely enormous bolts down here that are secured to the frame. This is what was holding this seat in place. You got them in the front and the back, and that's, I'll make brackets to hold the battery rack down so it'll sit very securely right here. For the next step, I've put the uprights in. I've welded them in position. I've verified that they are completely vertical. The batteries fit in there. I can get 11 across this way and 4 across here and 4 across here and 11 down this side too, so I know they'll all fit in there. And I've begun placing the top pieces on. I'm going to use these little baluster pieces in between the top of the battery rack and the edge of the batteries to keep them in place. I'll drill holes in these and tack them down right here. I'll put 1 or 2 on each battery, and they'll fit right across each row of batteries. They'll fit right down the rows. It'll probably be easier to understand when I've actually finished it. But that's my game plan for the top side. And down here I'll obviously have some pieces of welded 1/8 inch flat steel as runners to keep the batteries from falling out of the center portion of the rack. But that's what I've got so far. I've gotten a little more done on the battery rack. It's upside down right now. I've put some braces along every 7 1/4 inches, and I've supported those with angle irons going across, and I've got little pieces of angle on the ends here so that it will sit level on the floor of the car. I still have to put some side straps on, and I'll do that next. Let me turn this thing over. Voila! It's turned over the other way, and you can see how the batteries will be supported quite well in here. And that will hold the weight of those batteries easily. It's all welded together, and I've done it so that it's as square as I can possibly get it. I don't think it's been torqued yet, but we'll see when I start putting the batteries in. I've still got to put some straps across right here in the mid portion on each side, just to give the battery some support from swelling. This is what it looks like with the side supports welded on. You notice that these bars right now have supports all the way down on each side. This is the direction that the batteries will actually expand, this way and that way, and it needs a little extra support to keep them from bulging out. So that's why those are there. The batteries don't expand sideways, so I haven't added extra support over this way. That'll be plenty just to keep them from shifting around.